Welcome to another day in the Matrix, Waters Above Crypto. In today's video, I'll be giving a quick update on what's going on in the market after yesterday's FOMC meeting, where the Federal Reserve and Treasurer spellcasted the financial news world into the ongoing theater that we call the economy. I'll also be sharing a prediction for XRP in the month of July, giving specific dates and price targets using Gematria. So if you're new here, we do cryptocurrency technical analysis and combine it with the esoteric science of Gematria, Numerology, and Astrology to understand these markets. If you haven't already subscribed and you like what we're doing here, feel free to subscribe. Give this video a like and share this channel with other conscious people to help grow this community. And for those of you that want to learn how to do technical analysis and combine it with Gematria, there's a promo code in the pinned comment below with instructions if you'd like to join my mastermind course. My email's in the description box as well to get in contact with me for access to the course. And with that being said, let's take the red pill. So, first things first, the DXY dollar currency index is absolutely shredding to the upside. One of the biggest single day pumps we've actually seen in this since March of 2020. What that's telling me is that this is massive manipulation entering the market, and it's to essentially draw in a lot of fear. Now, what's really interesting is these reactions to the FOMC meeting that happened yesterday were all about interest rate hikes by the end of 2023. So, the last time I checked, we're in the year 2021. So I'm not entirely sure why the hell this reaction happened so dramatically and so quickly. But anyways, whenever the Fed Chair Powell speaks, it creates volatility. So essentially what's going on here is they came out and said that the interest rates would hike by the end of 2023. There'll be two price spikes or two interest rate spikes. And besides that, there's no policy changes until then. So essentially, they will continue to purchase $120 billion in assets per month for the foreseeable future. What a scam. So anyways, this is reacting in the global markets as a whole. The NASDAQ is actually shaping up pretty nice today. But this is sort of a technical formation that I was kind of anticipating anyways. Basically what we have here is somewhat of a double bottoming and then coming back to this 236 area, which is around 91.94. Now we're struggling at that level. And we also do have this downtrending resistance going on, which started around September 2020, which is around when the crypto market actually started to bottom out and entered its bull run. Anyone remembers back in September, there was a huge sell-off in the start of September in crypto after Bitcoin went to 12,500. It actually peeled all the way back down to around the high 9,000s. And everyone thought, the bull run's over. There was a lot of narrative around, the C scam and everything that was going on with that. And there was a lot of fear in the market. A lot of people were bored out of their mind watching crypto stay sideways for so many months. And essentially, they waited all the way until the transition into the new year to jump in the market. It's pretty common, kind of what happens with retail. And lately, retail has sort of left the sector. And what's really interesting is that even though we're getting this massive spike up in the DXY, it's not really affecting crypto that much. Across the board, everything's just down a couple percent. It's not a huge deal, but it is sort of interesting to see that knee-jerk reaction into the dollar, given that there's no policy changes. The Fed continues its balance sheet purchases of assets, essentially pulling off the biggest scam in economic history of buying it all. And with that being said, it's kind of just something that we'll have to see. About 7 days after this event is when we see the market sort of chill. But for now, it's going to be heavily volatile, and that's just kind of the way it goes. But anyways, let's move on to Bitcoin really quickly so that we could jump into the XRP prediction. Bitcoin, again, just sort of doing what it does, chopping around. Again, we've said many, many times in this channel that since this correction, I don't anticipate big moves until probably August. So we're going to chop around for the next 2 months. And the one thing that I really like to see right now is you see this 236 fib. That seems to be where we're holding support. We did make a new high in the structure. This new high in the structure is indicative of what's called a trend reversal. So as long as we stay higher than 34,700, which is this previous set of wicks back here on June 12th and June 13th, we're essentially continuing up. Until we break below 34,600, this is an uptrend. It's a very short-term uptrend, by the way, so it's nothing to get excited about. But for the most part, getting this solid rejection at this 41,400 area is kind of expected. There's a lot of resistance that should come in around there. Of course, it was our fractal high before from right back here. A lot of people who are unsophisticated analysts have been saying that this is like a big head and shoulders pattern. This is not a head and shoulders. A head and shoulders has a very sharp head, not this crown top formation. So this is essentially what would be like an interim distributional top using Wyckoff, or you don't even need to really use Wyckoff. You could sort of just see after so many rejections at highs, you anticipate a retest of the buying zone. And the best buying zone that's existed so far is anything below 33,000 Bitcoin pretty much gets bought up really quickly. And it's spent more time in these higher areas than it's spent in these lower areas. Another thing is when you have a distributional top, we could go from, I would say respectively right here over to the correction, you're looking at 125 days. So if we were to take from this area of when the correction starts to 125 days of resolution, because that's typically how long a period of reaccumulation takes, you're looking at September, okay? So this is pretty much in line with the theory of using Wyckoff. Your short-term distributional top before a reaccumulation phase should last about equal amount of time. So from the noticeable move into the distributional top, from the correction start to the same amount of time, you're looking mid-September. Again, this is very important for people to learn because they overthink Wyckoff. Wyckoff has been getting very popular lately for some weird reason, but if you go back and watch my first video ever, which I believe was made sometime around November or October, we were using Wyckoff back then, before the price even went on to all-time highs. So it's not new. For me, I've been using Wyckoff since the beginning of me teaching people technical analysis. And I do think lately there's been a lot of miseducation because it's just sort of popped off. And what's really weird about that is Wyckoff analysis has sort of become very popular, whilst the crypto market itself is actually becoming less popular right now. So when we have a huge correction, you always lose interest. And the most amount of people that are showing interest are the ones who are retail, because they're the ones that are trying to figure it all out, right? The ones who have big money, they've already figured out the game years ago. So this is just kind of how it goes. And I hope that clears things up. When using Wyckoff, essentially the distributional top should be equal for your reaccumulation. And if you were to look at this from a perspective of a schematic, this would be called a reaccumulation after decline. That's most likely what we are in, which will be a long-term trading range that's sideways and up, possible new lower lows, but for the most part, it's just a sideways, choppy, boring market before resolution. Now, how do altcoins react to all of that? We'll just have to wait and see. We could use Bitcoin dominance to determine that. For the most part, with this prediction that I'm going to be giving for XRP in a moment, I feel like it'll most likely just be following the coattails of Bitcoin, as every other altcoin does. But I feel what's cool about this prediction that I'm about to show you is it has a technical pattern that we've seen happen a couple of times in XRP, and I think that'll be something really educational for everyone, given that there's a lot of XRP holders who follow my work. So one thing I do want to mention, though, is we're getting close to this arc. We'll call it the firmament. We're getting really close to the firmament here, and if we were to stay just straight up sideways, we're looking at about 2 weeks before we break out of it. And if we were to move to the downside, I mean, yeah, of course, we could take longer, looking at about a month. But I do think that by the next new moon, which is the July 9th timeframe, we should have resolution, and it should be noticeable that we've moved to the upside. Now, I've also said many times that we could move down into lower lows on this next full moon, which is coming in July. Why did I say that? Because every 48 days in the cycle, you typically have, or sorry, 58 days in the cycle, you have lows. So if I measure from this V-shaped recovery right here, the low to low, you see that it's coming right into this low right here. Then if you measure from this low over to about 58 days, you're seeing this 60-day, I'll show you real quick right here. Low to low, you're looking at about 58 days. And then if you measure from this low over, you're looking at the correction down here, 58 days. So this is almost symmetrical across the board. And now what I'm anticipating is if I pull it from here, the double bottom, over 58 days, sorry, getting a little glitch, it puts me around this full moon, or sorry, I meant to put it right here because that's the actual big reversal time for all the altcoins. You could see it's right around the 20th of July, which is leading into the full moon. So the reason why I selected to do it on this date, the 23rd, is it was when the most liquidity was out of the market. If you check this day of May 23rd, you could see Ethereum was like $1,700. Most of these altcoins were really, really low. This day, the 8th of June, was an exception. It was predominantly Bitcoin, which was taking a hurting. So if I looked at this from a total market cap perspective, if I measure from this day, which was the lowest day, besides obviously the day of the crash, that's putting me around this time frame. And typically like a week before or after we have a full moon or a new moon is when you get your highs and lows. So for those of you that are new here, don't know what I'm talking about, please watch earlier videos. You'll see what I mean. I also did a full-blown video in my Mastermind course going over the moon cycles indicator, where we essentially just throw on this and we could see that whenever we have full moons, we have lows. Whenever we have new moons, we have some bullish energy surrounding it. And it's been that way since pretty much the whole entire trading cycle of Bitcoin. So let me move on to XRP now. Some interesting ideas going on here. So for one, I have this in log scale, and I also will turn the candles into area. The reason why I want to do this is because I want to clear a lot of the mess up, a lot of the noise. Lots of noise going on in these charts. So I'm also going to hide these drawings, and we're just going to show you kind of the thesis here. So what I'm seeing, and I believe is happening, is this fractal that we're experiencing right now is very similar to this fractal, where this launch date right here on November 18th, November 19th is pretty much identical to the April 3rd, April 4th breakout. And then we see this quick, sharp rejection dip into the 26th of November. That's pretty much what I see here into the 25th of April. Then we come up, have a lower high, continuous resistance, lower highs, and then a dip before a final failure. Dip before a final failure, and then you roll over. Then you look at how it rolls over, gets bought back, rolls over, sort of gets bought back. Again, the reason these don't match identical is because here is a lot more liquidity than down here. Down here, the price was only it was around 60 cents on average at the top. Over here, it was $1.60. It's a much different, but if you were to scale them with the idea of diminishing returns, you would see that they would match up pretty similarly in just if you're trying to be basic and quick here. The point being, not to get overly complicated, is then you have your bottom, which was right here. You play around in that bottom, but then you get the move back up, and that's the move back up, and then you taper down into this downtrend, which looks really bearish, but essentially what happens is then you just pop out. Now, this would be called an automatic rally, essentially, using Wyckoff. So right here, you have your buying climax. Right here, you have your selling climax, and soon we are moving into the automatic rally, and we could use Fibonacci retracement tool to determine the automatic rally. Okay, so now I'm going to pull up the fibs, and you're going to see if I pull a fib, by the way, this is on area chart, so that's why you can't see it's matching perfectly. I'll just turn it back to candles, actually. That might be more helpful for people. Okay, so you can see I pulled the fib right here from the top on November 24th when the price went to 78 cents, and I moved it down to this wick low at around 17 cents. And you can see that we traded at the bottom level with resistance on the 236 fib until we were ready to pop. And when we popped, it was after this like slow grind to the downside, just like I'm seeing right here, this slow grind to the downside. Very low volatility, very low volume, very boring, no open interest, just weird price action where the retail investor doesn't know what the fuck's going on. And this is sort of the price action that we're seeing right now. It's very boring and just slightly to the downside. Now you could see this 236, basically once we recover it again, we blast up. Now I don't think we're going to have this structure happen. This happened because of a coordinated pump group, which was just some nonsense from when Wall Street Bets was doing their theater. But I do see this move coming in. Basically, it'll move into the golden pocket. So what this would look like is moving into the golden pocket where you'd have a price between the 170 and the 145. I've been saying this time and time again on the channel. Now, the prediction here is more about figuring out the dates. And I believe that the date range that we're looking to get this price action in is between July 6th and July 15th. And I'm going to explain that why in a moment. But for the most part, it would look something like this. So we know that around July 9th is our new moon. So we're going to go ahead and like make an X right here. Okay. And then we could assume it might look something like this. Very exuberant move. And then we're going to correct down to the 382 fib, just like we did right here. You see, after we hit the golden pocket, we came right back into the 382. And that was where our support is. And sometimes you can see a support as low as the 236. But more importantly, this would be like the fractal pattern that you would assume. And now let's measure if we really want to have like, fun with this. We could see how long it took between this correction, the very bottom low, all the way till we saw like this pump to the upside. That's 106 days. So if we were to take this and measure from the bottom over 106 days, we're looking at the beginning of September. So what do I keep saying here? I keep telling everyone, expect the summer to be boring. And I believe that this is extra, like it's important information that we look at this, because these fractals keep replaying for each of these altcoins, for all of these cryptos actually, because they're not ran by humans. They're all algorithms. Retail is the middle of the price, but these extremes where you get these wick sell-offs is when whales start liquidating people, or you move it to the upside with lots of funny money liquidity. So with that being said, let's get into some of the Gematria and have a little fun with that. So why this time frame? Again, we know that new moons are typically bullish energy. And why the 6th day of July? Well, the 6th day of July has the numerology of 7-6, okay? And when you type in Ripple, you get 76 in the English ordinal cipher. Now, what else is interesting about the 7-6 date, July 6th? Well, July 6th, my bad, is within the 27th week of the year. So we get 27 Chaldean in Ripple. This is added confluence to give us some, now where we have the confidence to feel like this date could be special. This isn't the date that I think it'll be perfectly fit on, but I would say that by this time we should start to see bullish energy moving into the golden pocket around this price, between at least $1.30 and as high as $1.70. $1.67 would make a lot of sense, but that's just a separate note. Now, a couple other things we can do is if I type in 7/11/2021, you get the 14, and obviously 7/12/2021 gives us the 15, and the 14 and the 15 always come back to XRP, the 14 and the 15 in Chaldean. Again, these dates all fitting in within the 27th week of the year. So it's giving me, again, more confidence. Now, if I also add up the date as 7 plus 10 plus 20 plus 21, I get the 58, like XRP equals 58. So between that 10th Around the 10th is when I really want to zone in and assume that that's probably it. It's also a Saturday. Saturdays are kind of weird for crypto, but the best days I've ever seen XRP perform on weekends are when the rest of the cryptos are performing badly, which is weird. Sometimes XRP is just one of those isolated coins that does really well on that specific day. Now, the 7/6 through 7/11, like I showed you here, are the 27th week of the year. So you could just simplify everything and just assume that this is probably the time we're going to see XRP create some bullish price action. I do not think that it's going to make a new all-time high anytime soon. I seriously don't. I think that the best we can get to seeing an all-time high, which would mean something higher than the $3.30 level, that's going to be happening much later in the year, probably around October, November, more likely November. Now, that might get a lot of people like annoyed or whatever, but like you just gotta be patient. A lot of people that are in XRP are patient. I've been in XRP for a while. I'm very patient. I was buying all my XRP below 20 cents. I've been here for a while in that regard. So when I'm giving people these short-term predictions, if you want to call them that, price action, I'm showing you how you could also get better predictions by utilizing these more esoteric outlooks, by using numerology, using your Gematria tools. Again, that was what was helping us back here around the beginning of April with the ability to determine when XRP would hit $1 for the first time. A lot of people were telling me that's not going to happen because the SEC case isn't ready yet, and it still happened. The price went almost up to $2. Then I was telling people before this breakout even happened, hey guys, this thing could come right back down to where it broke out. Guess what happened? May 23rd pretty much came right back down to where it broke out. But this level that it bounced off of was bullish. It was very bullish to see it retest back on the 786 of the previous fractal. This is really good, okay? Also, we made a higher low on that wick as opposed to this SEC dump. This was a huge liquidity event where a lot of retail left the space. So we have a sign of strength here, obviously. We're seeing that it's holding this 80-cent level. It's getting boring. It looks just like right back here. Just go back on your chart between January 8th down to January 28th. That 20-day period looks so similar to right here, June 1st. We'll go over 20 days, basically right around this time frame. I do think it'll be a little more extended. The reason why I think it'll be more extended is because we have a much higher price now. It's not low like, you know, penny stock levels necessarily. It's still low, but I mean comparatively to 20 cents or less, that was a bloodbath. Right now, it's just sort of, that's the way this coin operates. It has 40 to 50 day pump and dump cycles. But with that being said, just to simplify the video, the 27th week of the year, which will be the dates between July 5th and July 11th, particularly July 6th, because it has the 7/6 numerology coming back to Ripple equals 7/6. That leading into the noticeable movement to the upside. I would assume that the price targets that we're going to be seeing by then are $1.40. Again, coming back to XRP with the 14, and because the 7/11 date equals 14, all around that range of the next new moon. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope it all kind of aligns with the overall analysis that I've been giving lately. Just kind of gives us some more insights into how to use Gematria and numerology with more precision. In the month of July, I'm actually going to be doing 4 different decodes for different cryptocurrency projects that the Patreon supporters select. So that's going to be really awesome because we're in the process of voting on those today. And throughout the rest of the month, we'll be narrowing down which 4 projects I'll be doing those Gematria decodes on. So starting the month of July is going to be all about Gematria on my channel and in the Patreon. And I believe it's going to be really fun to be able to use that time frame predominantly as the prices I'm anticipating to be bullish. And then the pullback into the next new moon of July It's just a good month for us to maybe focus on our education and how to use this stuff as a tool to be able to take advantage of the fall time, because that's when our education with that sort of price action will really, really benefit us. So, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day in the Matrix. Much love.